Story now, learning has been disrupted this morning at Tubelihle High School in White City, Soweto. Parents are vowing to shut down the school. Heidi Giokos is there with more on the story. Good morning, Heidi. What's the latest coming from the school? What exactly are the parents aggrieved by?
They are angry at the fact that the school has not been revamped. There were renovations underway in Mfundo, and it just seems as though those plans were halted. What we do understand is that they had written to the Gauteng Education Department, to the MEC of Basic Education in the province, Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, to get a response and to get some intervention. It seems as though that is not happening. You can see that there are pupils outside trying to get the attention of whoever might be listening. They refuse to get into the school. You have the SGB here as well. We do have one of the SGB members, but she's now unfortunately walked away. I actually think if you can just bear with us, we are going to just walk to her and just try and get a response from her to get an understanding of what's really going on. But in Mfundo, as you can see, it's just the pupils are really unhappy at the fact that there has been no proper intervention. And let's perhaps get a response from Brenda, who is the SGB treasurer. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. Maybe just tell us exactly what the problem is and what's going on and why you have pupils outside of the school.
Thanks, Heidi. As you can see, learners are protesting today. They feel that enough is enough. They have been in this building for the past 5 years and nothing has been done. So they feel that they are being neglected. If I can tell you right now, we are still the only school around here that's still platooning. Our learners are not back to school 100%. Only because we don't have classes. We don't have space to accommodate all our learners. Since the minister announced that learners can go back to school 100%, if you can see the building around here.
Let's actually take a look. So, just come to my left so that we're out of the camera's way. Maybe just, we're going to take a walk in Mfundo, so if we can just ask you to bear with us so we can actually see the state of the school. Already, Shahid is just showing you the gates already. Doesn't look like it's in the best standard here, but we also know that some of the structure of the school doesn't have proper roofing. And I mean, if Shahid can actually just show you, there's no pavement on the road. Some of the windows also don't have full windows here. So you can just see in Mfundo how the state of the school. And this is a high school, right, Brenda?
It is a high school, yes. It is Tubelihle High School in Soweto, based in White City.
Okay. And how many learners are in the school?
We have plus minus 1,000 learners in our school. So as I'm saying that we are still using rotational system simply because we are unable to accommodate all our learners at once because we don't have classes. We have been to the MEC's office. We did not get any help. We even hand delivered him the letter and there was no response. We tried communicating with the DID. And still, we are being taken from pillar to post. So we gave the report to parents yesterday, hence we had a parents meeting, as you can see what I'm talking about. And then parents felt that, no, enough is enough. You guys have been telling this for the past 5 years, and there's nothing happening. So they only feel that in South Africa, the only language that the superiors understand is protest. So we felt that this is beyond our hands as well as SGB, because parents were even blaming us that, no, you guys, maybe you even have something to do with this DID or with the MEC. So now it's high time that we take this into our hands.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask my colleague Heidi Giokos to just come a little closer. I mean, in Mfundo, you can just see the visuals speak for themselves. I'm going to ask him to show you the structure of the roof. It seems as though the roof has not been fixed. I'm not sure. Are the classrooms open? Could we get inside?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
okay, if we can just go around so you can actually just see the state of these classrooms. From my understanding in Mfundo, it seems as though the roof is not completed, so it seems as though the students have to sit in these classrooms. And now winter is approaching. What's also interesting here, Mfundo, is that there seems to be container classrooms. Do you understand why there are container classrooms?
Yes.
Are these just provision measures until the school's completed?
Correct. So these were just brought in by the contractor that until they finish renovations. But clearly, nothing is going on. As you can see this, if a learner can just fail in the end, what will happen?
You see the quality of the...
Yeah, very poor.
If we can just get into the classroom, Mfundo, just bear with us. We're just trying to get into the classroom where we understand the roof is quite problematic. So this is the admin block.
And it's also not up to standard. It's very small, and we have a lot of teachers. Teachers end up sitting in their cars because they cannot fit in their staff room. That staff room can only accommodate about 10, and we have about 20 in their cars. In their cars, because that staff room is not enough to accommodate all of them.
I mean, Mfundo, how does a teacher and admin staff sit in their cars? This just speaks to the desperation that they have nowhere else to go, so they would rather sit and work in their cars because of the state of the school. Shahidi Pale is showing you the school at the moment. I mean, if we just show also the bathroom block. Maybe just speak to us about where's the principal? Where's the actual principal of the school?
The principal of the school is outside together with the educators because they have nothing to do with this. Parents took this upon to themselves. That principal, we have had enough. You have been telling us one and the same thing, taking us from pillar to post. So we've been hearing this for the past 5 years. And so right now, teachers and the principal, they are outside the gate. Parents locked them out.
So are parents basically blaming the principal for the lack of intervention and the lack of completion of the school?
Basically, I can say that, yes, because they feel that, principal, what have you been doing? You've been telling us one and the same thing for the past 5 years. So now that you have failed, let us take this upon to our hands.
Okay, let's get into the classroom. This is one of the classrooms, I believe, Mfundo. So if you could just see the state of this classroom, you can of course see it's not completed. So maybe just for clarity's sake, are learners taught in those containers because this has not been completed?
Yes, learners have been using those containers, although they are not enough as well, and not in a good state again.
So there's, of course, an issue of also overcrowding because those containers are not many, and you said that there are quite a few learners as well, so they all cramp up in those containers.
Correct. Hence, we have been promised that they will bring us about 11 containers or 12, if I'm not mistaken, but to date we haven't received those containers.
I'm going to ask Shahid to just follow us here outside. Mfundo, as you can see this part, I'm just waiting for him to get to us, where you can just see the roof structure is a complete mess. You can see, of course, that they were probably trying to build and complete this because you can even see a lot of the building material, and that orange and grey netting is always an indication that there's some kind of construction that's taking place. I mean, the colour has even changed. It's only on that side where it's still yellow and red. But it just shows you that this is, of course, has been not completed for some time. And now, as you heard from the SGB, that learners are completely fed up and they feel as though the only way to get the attention of the MEC and anybody else who is willing to listen and intervene here is by locking out the principal and the teachers and protesting and saying until our school is completed, we will not be going into the school because they are currently being taught in containers.
No, Heidi, this is very disturbing, honestly. It's most certainly disturbing, and one could even say this is the picture of inequality because it's 9:10. Other children all over South Africa are in classrooms learning. And now you're telling me that, in fact, these children were, in fact, continuing with rotational learning, so they were missing out on a good deal of schoolwork. So this very community has children that will be left even further behind because of the state of their schools, what you're showing me.
Yes, certainly, Mfundo, it's just completely unacceptable. And what's even more alarming is the fact that they've written to the MEC of Education in the province. I'm not sure how much time we have, but we know that the SGB wants to take us through to the admin block, because it's not just the learners that are being affected, it's also the staff here. Their hands have been, their hands are tied. I mean, what more can they do? They aren't the ones that need to that build. So, they are here to do their jobs, which is teaching and learning. And now you have a situation where they can't even do their admin because, as you heard from the SGB indicating that they have to sometimes sit in their cars because they feel that it's better to work in your own vehicle instead of a building. So it becomes very complicated for them, and I think this requires the immediate attention of Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi to say, this school has been crying and pleading out to you. They want your help, they want your intervention. I think another big question, Mfundo, is, of course, there was money put in here for these renovations and for the school to be built. Where is that money? Has that money been allocated and it just has not been used, or what is the actual situation? We are going to show you the state of the current bathrooms. I mean, this is just completely unacceptable. And this, of course, makes it very difficult and complicated for learners. Am I right, Brenda?
Correct, 100%. You are definitely correct. The state of the bathrooms, this is the girls' bathrooms. As you can see, this lady works here as our cleaner. She suffers day in and day out because of the state of our bathrooms. It's just not fair. We feel that now.
Yeah. Okay. Ma, maybe just speak to us about how difficult it is for you having to clean this, because it's one thing to need to clean bathrooms, but it's another to need to clean bathrooms that are completely dilapidated.
Okay, ngizokhuluma ngesizulu khona ngizokwazi ukuthi ngichaze la ukuthi ngikhuluma ngani. Ngikhathele la toilet aso. I'm head enough. Mangizokhipha ama pads la, ngikhipha udoti wonke. Ama toilet our flush. Ayavuza ama toilet. So I'm head enough, I'm tired. Uclean amakaka la. I'm cleaning kakas, too much kakas here. And the floor ingcolile angisakhona really. I even sick ngiyagula asthmatic right now. Nyakula ila maklasi ilo doti lo ola, so I'm sick and tired.
Yeah, Mfundo, I think that just explains it perfectly, to say that because of the state of these bathrooms, you have a cleaner that's now asthmatic and is sick because of the state. There's clearly no proper flushing facilities. It's obviously clogged. They are not maintaining this system, so it becomes very problematic. I want us to go into the admin block, where apparently it's even worse in here, because you have admin staff unable to work in this environment, moving into their cars, we understand that this area is also not in the best condition. Let's just move in here and see exactly what's going on.
So this is the staff room. As you can see how packed it is. Only about 10 educators can fit in here. So some feel that we cannot work like that. Hence they resort into working into their cars, of which is just totally unacceptable.
How many educators or how many staff should be in here, but obviously can't be because of the size of the staff room?
We have, if I'm not mistaken, minus 30 educators. As you can see, Hailey, they cannot fit in here, all of them.
Mfundo, I'm not often at a loss of words. As a journalist, I always have a lot to say, but I am truly at a loss of words. It's going to be important for us to get to the bottom of this and understand exactly what is the problem here. We understand that the SGB just wants to show us one last area before we throw back to you in studio. What is the problem here?
This is the reception area. This is our reception area. As you can see, it's a pity the principal's office, I understand it's locked. I'm unable to show you in there. So this is basically the reception area. We have about 5 assistants which have to work in this office.
You asked the question of how they were working during COVID, during COVID, where there had to be social distancing and people are literally working on top of each other. So, Mfundo, I just think the visuals speak for themselves, and of course, it's going to be important for the MEC to explain exactly what is going on here. But
this is one SGP member as well. I'm sure you can have some comments from him as well.
Sure.
Thank you.
So maybe if you could, you're live on eNCA. Maybe if you can just tell us your experience here. What are some of the issues and complaints you have? We've walked around and we've seen the state of the school, shocking, and it just seems as though nothing has been done for years now.
Look, I've been with this school for the past 10 or 15 years. Here there's no space. Also, our kids are learning in a very dire situation. When it's cold, they are getting cold. When it's hot, same thing. When it's raining, same thing is happening. So they can't concentrate on their studies. Although our teachers, educators are trying very hard, as you can see, the pass rate since the school started with the grade 12, our educators are working very hard to make sure that kids, they do pass. But the issue is we don't have any buildings, proper building. Surely you have been going around checking the whole yard. We don't have space. We have been raising these issues for so many times with the department. Then no one is listening to us. That's all that we can say. That is why we have decided now just with the parents that, look, enough is enough, let's take action.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights. We do appreciate it. I want us to give a last shot for you, Mfundo. You can see here the achievement and pass rates that you are seeing here. Despite the circumstances, the structural circumstances that these kids are subjected to every single day, they still come to school every single day and try and do their best, despite the fact that they have to be taught in these containers, because you have a situation where the actual classrooms have not been completed. They need to be taught in those in those containers that are also starting to basically fall apart. So well done for them for doing so well, but still this needs the urgent attention. I think this is beyond just the provincial MEC and the Department of Gauteng. This now needs to move over to national, because they have indicated time and time again that they've reached out to the MEC and they've just been ignored. This is why you're seeing learners and parents protesting and locking out the principal of the school.
No, Heidi, this environment is not one that is conducive for teaching nor learning, because, I mean, the teachers themselves are demoralized. I mean, that admin block that you showed me, where you've got to have teachers actually giving each other chances and sitting in your car or completing your admin in your car, is honestly not a situation you want to find yourself in, and then you're somehow enthusiastic to go into a classroom and teach young people. So everybody's at a disadvantage in this instance.
Definitely, Mfundo. I think it becomes very difficult and complicated, in as much as staff and teachers want to do their very best. How do you do so when you have to get yourself to work every single day and know that the bathroom facilities are in a complete mess, the toilets don't flush, you have classrooms that don't have proper roofing, the floor is basically falling apart, and winter is approaching. I shudder to think what was happening during COVID-19, where you had to be extra careful, and learners, of course, had to apply social distancing, mask wearing and all of that, yet they didn't even probably have proper chairs to sit on and be taught. So there are a number of issues that, of course, need to be addressed urgently. And as you heard SGB saying, that they are almost putting the blame at the principal's door to say, but what have you done? We've been raising these issues time and time again. And this is completely unacceptable, Mfundo. You cannot be having a high school in a situation like this where they don't have proper infrastructure. There are many other issues that schools face, where they might not have enough educators, there might not be enough space, but now you don't have enough space, you don't have proper infrastructure, and it ties in perfectly with the focus we have on eNCA today, is that why Why has nothing been maintained? Where is our infrastructure and development in schools as well? Because how do you just have a school sitting like this and nothing's been done? For how many years?
5 years.
5 years. We're not talking about in the last 6 to 7 months or in the last year. It's 5 years that the school has been sitting like this. Again, it goes back to where is the money that was allocated for the school to be built? Why has that money not been used sufficiently? And you wonder how the pupils and the learners in the last 5 years have been able to pass and do so well. How do you learn and be focused in a classroom that probably doesn't have proper lighting, no chairs, no proper roofs? You're being taught in a container, so in winter it's probably freezing, in summer it's probably excruciating heat, and you can't focus and concentrate. So it's definitely a worrying picture and completely unacceptable.
Heidi, you posed some very important questions that we in fact need to pose now to the MEC and find out why for the past 5 years they haven't assisted the school. But we'll leave it there for now. That's a reporter, Heidi Giokos.